Hey, welcome back, everybody, to the Mike Gormley Show. So nice to have people who listen to it. It's why we're here. We came back in with Britney Spears' song "Toxic," and we'll be talking about her in a little bit. But you had a question, Jen?
Yeah, I just have to say, like, you've been interviewed a lot, I've been interviewed a lot. I think it's different when you're talking about something that you've done, right? In terms of like I've written a book or I've done this documentary or whatever it is. When I interviewed you, you were talking about your personal life and things that had been very important to you, and I think still are in a lot of ways. Were you terrified? Like after I interviewed you, were you like, "Oh, sweet baby Jesus, what did I say?" And then were you scared? Were you kind of like, oh, when you got the book, were you just like, oh, please, please let her have been kind? Or like, what were your thoughts?
Well, I didn't know your question was about me. We're like now you're interviewing me. That's
Oh, sorry.
okay. It's okay. Um, First off, I like the book, and I actually learned a fair amount. Their early days, I knew generally, but you got real specific, and it was real interesting. Um, and I will say that I was treated very kindly by you and whoever else was
The
involved in
girls,
the book.
the girls, like they read that book over and over and over and over again.
Yeah, and it's um, yeah, I was a little nervous because we didn't. we didn't part on the greatest terms, but they weren't doing well at the time. And I've talked to them all since then, and we're all friends and that sort of thing. But in fact, Vicky was on this show about 2 months ago.
Oh, she's a good interview.
She is. She's great. And
Yeah.
that was the first time, other than a phone call, that we had talked in a couple of decades.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, it was very cool. Anyway, here we are talking about me, and that's
No, I love it. I
here
love it.
for. But yes, you treated me well in the book, but overall, the book is so well researched and it's educational. You almost don't have to be a Bangles fan to, get into the story and understand it and get something out of it. So good book, Jen. Good
Oh,
job.
that's so lovely to hear. Well, you were a huge part to making it as wonderful as it is. And I just think you really captured, after working with them, you really captured what the challenge is, but also the great things about them as well. And I'm so grateful that you took the time and were allowed yourself to be vulnerable in that way. Really, I really honestly mean that.
It was nice. I ran into Sue at a NAMM convention event 2 years ago, I guess it was. And I got the nicest, warmest hug. It felt great.
Oh,
Just felt good. Hadn't talked to her, seen her for a long time. So um, feeling good about them these days. And your book helped a lot. Okay, enough of me. Enough.
I love you. Are you kidding? Come on.
Um, well, let's see. What do we want to talk? I've lost track now where we're going, but
You know what, we were talking about the music industry stuff. I think it was a massive difference because Will Sargent from Echo and the Bunnymen, that was a collaborative effort. His first memoir, we worked on it together. And just he came at it from a completely different angle. Uh, that book and his memoir was really about living in the North, getting into punk rock, and the Bangles were just like grinding, 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 and Echo and the Bunnymen, it was just a different time period and a different place than the Bangles. I think the hardest thing with the Bangles and the most interesting was going back, and I think I even say this in the book, going back and seeing the videos and the interviews and reading the interviews that I'd read as a kid. And as a kid, now I have a doctorate and I have my own life experience. So I kind of have that theoretical knowledge, but then the practical knowledge. But it was very difficult to read the way they were written about. Um, there were times, Mike, when I was like, I'd be like, I said, the British Library, spent a lot of time. I'd get so wound up and angry. I would literally be like calling Sue at like 6 o'clock in the morning, Los Angeles time. And she's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I'm so angry about what someone wrote about you." And she's like, "Who was it?" I'm like, "It was 1984, Rolling Stone," or whatever it is. And she's like, "Girl, settle down. It was 30, 40 years ago. It's okay." But I would just get so upset because because it just the way they were talked about was horrific. And again, my hat goes off to you for being so gracious and standing by them.
I like them. I like their music. So uh, did it kind of naturally, and did it as a PR guy. That was my background, so I knew how to deal with it, I guess. But anyway, I want to ask about Nico a little more
Oh yeah, okay.
um, because I haven't really read that, and she's a fascinating, or was a fascinating person. Um, did it take a while to sell that idea to any publisher or anybody?
Yes. Do you know what? I'm glad you reminded me of that actually. Like I wrote the pitch and I got so into it. Like I was watching videos of her and just anything that was Nico related, I would just grab onto. And the whole story I found so timeless and sad and provocative and important. And I just kind of put it aside. I'm like, nobody, like I had an agent, she's like, nobody wants it. And I'm like, and then I connected with a new agent and he sold it within a month. But that was like a 2 year period between when I'd written the pitch and when it went out. So thank you for reminding me of that.
That's got to be so frustrating to the grind.
Grim.
It's like trying to raising money for something, and maybe a great idea, but you got to do all this yuck work to make it come together. You persevered. You stuck to it, right?
Exactly. But I think it's getting harder to be totally transparent. I think it's harder because we're living in a time when, to me, history is so important. It's such a huge part of every story. And the way that you learn is by looking at the past and learning from that and then try not to make those same mistakes, as cliche as that is. And I feel like the fact that I'm being told the 90s are vintage and old and
Yeah.
no one's interested in that. I mean, it makes me feel old, that's fine, but also why is it that everybody's walking around wearing Nirvana shirts? Like what? So there's something about that moment and moments before that that just because it's old does not mean it's not interesting. And I think we're moving into a time period, or we're in a time period where my friend Don Letts said it's very culturally thin. It's very thin on the ground. Are we
Mhm.
going to have artists, or is it 40 years from now, are there going to be bands like the Bangles that people are talking about from this time period? I think the answer is no, because so much is algorithms, so much is the song that's made for TikTok. The lasting and staying power is not, it's not valued, nor is it nurtured the way it was when you and I were in the industry.
Yeah, well, that's it. But along the way, I read in one of your maybe bios or something
Are
like
you
that.
gonna be positive now? You're gonna say something positive
Good,
after my
good.
gloom and doom.
It's good. But you talk about, now I've got this in caps, like I can't read my own writing, but it said moving the needle, that you're helping the next generation of women.
Oh yeah, so I founded an organization with two of my friends here. One who is the head of Rocket Sony Music, and the other one, she is the head of Key Productions, which is the biggest presser of vinyl records in Europe.
Mm,
And we started a nonprofit called Moving the Needle, which is all about helping women at all stages of their career in the music industry specifically. Because what you see happen is a lot, like 20s, like in their 20s, and even going into your early 30s, there's lots of women in more junior roles, whether it's assistant or more a supportive type of thing. But when you get to 40 and above, it's just there's not any women at all. In fact, I can name on one hand the women I know that are in my age group that are still in the business. Uh,
mhm.
and that's really what we want to do. We want to show younger women ways to get in and then support, I hate to say older, but women of a certain age, Mike, to continue to be successful and have productive and fulfilling careers at all stages.
How how does it actually work though? It's not like 911 where there's somebody sitting waiting for a phone call, right?
I know, I don't want. Well, it can be like that because of WhatsApp. Believe me.
Oh, I
Uh,
see. Okay.
it's to be honest, it's been a frustrating row to hoe because uh, I think you get. I think the mission is a great idea, but I also think that it needs to be it needs to the pillars of it, we have a really big executive board, and I think everybody has their own opinion instead of having like these are the three or four pillars. So we've had some struggles in terms of really defining what it is. Like, are we talking about menopause? Are we talking about having kids? Are we talking about mental health? And I think part of the challenge from where we started, the initial idea, to where we're trying to find our way now is, again, we're bombarded by all these things constantly on social media. And sometimes I think you just need to pick one thing and just stick with that one thing. So in this case, it'd be, how do we get more women into the creative industries, and how do we keep women in the creative industries? And menopause can be over here, childcare can be over here. It's just that one mission.
So it's there anyone's day-to-day life has its ups and downs, to say pretty pretty up and pretty down sometimes. And an organization like Moving the Needle will just talk to those people, will maybe
Yeah.
help with a job, whatever.
That is really like, in terms of what we were doing a lot of mentoring, peer-to-peer mentoring, and then also helping to mentor kids that want, I say kids, younger people that wanted to get into the industry. And then we had like WhatsApp groups. You could be asking questions like, do you have this contact, or do you have any ideas how I can do this or that? So that was doing that. So I think that there's a lot of that. I think for me, a really big challenge, though, this might sound strange considering the books I've done and what I've said, is that I never have thought I'm a woman in the music business.
You know, you don't look at it that way
No, like, do you think of yourself as a Canadian in the music business?
sometimes.
Do you? When you're freebasing maple syrup from a tree and watching John Candy
I'm
movies.
shooting up maple syrup. I go, oh yeah, I'm in the music business.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. No, I mean, it's just, I would say, like, I never thought about being a woman in the music business until, I would say, the last 5 to 10 years, when I got approached to do Moving the Needle. And then just a lot of the Me Too things. I think for me, it was all about being excellent at what I did and having a great reputation for knowing my stuff, and
Mm.
being kind to people and treating people as I want to be treated. That's what was important, and doing the best at my job. I never was like, oh, I have breasts and a vagina, I'm a woman in the music business. And some of the things, your face, some of the things that we saw and did and experienced, you and me, and probably a lot of people in the music business and other businesses, yes, it was crazy, and yes, it was inappropriate, but that's life. Life is messy.
That's true. What was inappropriate?
It would be, I would say it's for, that's for a different, fans account only show.
Okay.
They have to get behind the paywall at the Mike Gormley show.
That's right. Yeah. Tune in later.
That's right. That's on the clipping floor. But yeah, and what I'm working on now, I
I was just
really
going to ask you what you were working on now. A very good ESP.
are you? It's like I've interviewed people before. What? Um, do you know what, Mike? Like, this is something you and I could talk about forever, and that is, I've done all this stuff. I still have, the old girl still has some energy in her. I'm not quite ready to go to the glue factory yet. And what is it I want to do? And I'm trying to figure that out right now, to be fair. I would say what I really would like to do, and this is going to sound so hashtag I'm from Santa Cruz, California, is I really want to somehow use all the contacts and experience I have, and to really help support other artists and people getting together through art, whether it's music or visual art or whatever it is, because I feel like we need that now more than ever.
You talk when you're talking to artists in general, and you get down into discussions about the way things are, because I'm scared to death for songwriters.
Oh God, yes.
They're not getting paid. I mean, some of the women guys who were around a while back, but the more recent, they're not making any money. How can you survive? Have you ever discussed that with anybody? And
Oh God,
unless they
yes.
discuss that and the business of the day compared to the past.
I mean, the thing is there's a lot of like, oh, well, touring is how you make all your money. Well, it is really, really expensive to tour, really expensive to tour.
Mm,
Um, and it depends on, like, I was talking to Jane Weedland, and she goes out with she's a band with a friend, and they may get $300 a not for a show if they're lucky.
yeah.
you know? And so where's that? Like that's if it's her and another guy and then a sound person or anyone else in the band, I mean, it's gonna they're basically paying to play, and you're not making any money off of streaming. So what is it I think the other thing is we're living in a time we have a whole generation of kids and more generations coming up behind that music is seen as free or virtually free,
Yeah,
you know? And that's a huge when something's free, it doesn't the value of it ceases to exist.
sure. The value, though, of not to get all philosophical, but a song can be of great value, just maybe not financially speaking. It can move you, it can help you, it can give you ideas, whatever, but the person who wrote it can't make a living.
100%. There's a band called The Kills, and have done this song called The Future Starts Slow. And I listen to it. I'll go through periods where I'll listen to it 4 or 5 times a day, and then I won't listen to it for a couple months. But that song has helped me so much in the recent years of just like, like why aren't things happening or why am I not seeing the way clearly forward? And I mean, they probably have not made that much money off that song, but it's helped me more than anything else. I think that that's what's scary is we need the creative, we need artists, we need songwriters, we need music more than ever. And it's something that's so valued, but not financially.
Yeah, which is sad.
Horrible.
Yeah. But um
On a happy note, your skin's looking great.
we're talking about we're talking about clothes earlier and style, and I'm admitting openly, I have an 8-year-old granddaughter who will
Oh.
only wear bell bottoms now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How did she discover them?
Maybe her mom, I don't know. I just saw her over the weekend, and she's 8 years old, looks fantastic, and I happen to like bell bottoms, and
Oh, I like bell bottoms.
but if that's a hint of what's going on, the fashion world, I may be on top of it already. I don't know, but
You already you have the wardrobe from the first go around on waiting to you probably still fit into it all because you're really fit as well. So you're not lying on the ground covered in Vaseline trying to squeeze into some. There's a visual.
what an interesting picture that. Hey,
But
we're gonna slide out in a minute, but we're gonna slide out to a Joy Division song, and
uh
very briefly. It's called Love Will Tear Us Apart. Um, it, how did you get the Joy? I mean, you talked earlier about it, and it was a hard sell. But once you got it going, everybody fell in line, or is it still a hard sell?
Well, do you know what? With Joy Division, it's fascinating because that to me, the PhD people were like, "This is crap," and I literally got laughed at and ridiculed, and people were saying I shouldn't be doing a PhD. I've been the most successful of anyone in my program. I'm not big upping myself, but it's true. And the what was fascinating about that is that I got such great support from the living members of Joy Division, from Stephen, Peter Hook, um, and Bernard Sumner, especially Hookie and Steven, those two were so supportive of me. And that made me feel like, you know what? Like haters and people that don't think believe in me. My heroes believe in me and they like what I'm doing. So that really helped propel me.
Yeah, sure. Now we're going to listen to Love Will Tear Us Apart, and when we come back, um, I want to know if there are any artists you're now
Ooh.
chasing but having trouble getting to the nail down.
Oh
Don't
my God,
say
yes,
anything.
please.
We'll talk about it later. Let's listen to music, go to commercial. We'll be back to the Mike Gormley Show in a couple of minutes. Thank you.